Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Today I want to recap the realignment issue and how things have gotten to the point where the sport, I think, is standing on the cliff, and if you fall over, it's going to be the destruction of the sport. And this kind of thing doesn't happen overnight. There's a process. For example, if you have this product that you have and you're making good money with it and everybody's making a good living and everybody's happy and you're pretty much fine with the way things are. But I come along and I say, Jack, you got a product that I like. I know you're making good money, but I'm going to give you 3 times what you're used to making if you come to work with me. You think about it a little bit, and then you come back and say, okay, fine, I'll try you out just to see, maybe you might be on to something. So you work with me, and you find out that we do have a good working relationship. So at the end of that contract, when I come back and say, you know what, we work so well together, I'm going to give you 4 times you were making when I first met you. And you say, okay. However, I want to start seeing a few changes. I want to do this, I want to see that, and then we'll see how that goes. Okay, that contract expires, you're happy with what we're doing, and then the next time I keep throwing more and more money onto the pot, and at the same time I keep adding more stipulations about what I want. When you look up, you have given me a whole lot of control for a few extra dollars. And I think that is the case that's happening now with college sports. TV did the same thing. It came in, they wanted to take that product and spin it the way they want until they started asking for concessions after concession after concession, and now they're in a position where they control the whole thing. So now TV is saying, well, we like to see these super conferences because I don't want to see Texas play Kansas State every year. I want to see Texas play Alabama. And then I don't want to see USC beat up on, Oregon State or maybe Washington State every year. I don't want the people to see that. I want more juicier matchups. How about USC and Michigan? Or USC Ohio State? Or UCLA Michigan State? These are more attractive matchups than you get on a regular basis. And I can agree with that to a certain extent. Me, I like the first part of college football season and I like the bowl season. Why? Because you get matchups that you don't normally get. So when these TV companies come in and they redirect these super conferences to get the better matchups, that's what they want to see also. So you have teams on the fringe like Oregon State and Stanford who, with this Pac-12 demolition, are out in the cold. But at least for Stanford, they have a friend in Notre Dame who's behind the scenes trying to pull strings to get them into the ACC. Well, Cal was a part of the package the first time that went to the ACC, and they were rejected. Stanford is getting a little bit of their own medicine because a couple times previously in the last 20, 25 years, Texas tried to get with the Pac-12. They blocked them every time. So now Stanford is getting blocked from the ACC. And some of the people who are blocking them are teams that may leave the conference. For instance, Florida State, North Carolina State, and I think it's one other school that don't want Stanford and Cal to join the ACC. But that's not quite a dead issue. But if they can't get in the ACC, they're going to be in no man's land. It doesn't hurt them now, but in the future when it comes to scheduling, especially if you say like the SEC with all their teams and the Big Ten, they start increasing conference games, then it's going to be hard for teams like Stanford and Cal to find games. So they got to go find a home. So it's going to be tough sledding for the Stanfords of the world, and it's going to get worse as long as these TV companies maintain control of how things are going to take place in the future. Again, it all comes down to greed. How much are you willing to give up of your product to give to somebody else and lose control while you're doing it? That is the ultimate question. So until the college sports boards and presidents step in and put a stop to all this, it's going to spiral more and more out of control, and what you're pretty much going to have is a pro sports league in college. It's kind of been that way for a while, and you can see that football is eventually probably going to spin off in its own direction, but for people that are into college football because of the regional rivalries and the pageantry and all of that, that doesn't mean anything to these big CEOs of these corporations. So all that stuff is going to die. And if that dies, the allure of college football is probably going to die right with it, which is why I've been thinking all along, yes, these super conferences are great, but when you get these teams that have been used to winning for all these years, all of a sudden start to find themselves in mediocrity, the fans won't stand for it, and it's going to eventually lead back to smaller conferences. And just like the Big 12, who people thought were going to die when Texas and Oklahoma and Colorado, Nebraska left those 2 times, they bounced back. Pac-12 is going to do the same thing. It's going to align with some smaller conferences like the Mountain West, and they're going to survive. And eventually, these people that are leaving, they're going to come back. So until that happens, I'll keep you posted. Sports for real.